Okay, so I want you to just imagine this scene for a moment.
Right.
You have a quiet Russian monastery, a place built for spiritual solitude, you know.
Right, the sanctuary of the revered Elder Zosima. Perfect calm.
Exactly. And into this perfect calm storms the most explosively dysfunctional family you could ever commit to print.
It's the ultimate collision. I mean, you have the father, Fyodor, who's just this moral degenerate, performing for shock value.
I'm loving it.
Oh, absolutely. Then there's Dmitri, the eldest son, just seething with passion and debt, glaring at his father.
Ready to kill him right there.
And then Ivan, the middle son, just sits back with this cool, intellectual contempt that is, honestly, it's way more dangerous than the open rage.
And right in the middle of this hurricane is the youngest son, Alyosha, the novice at this very monastery, watching his whole world just explode.
And this chaotic meeting is our introduction to Fyodor Dostoevsky's final monumental statement, the Brothers Karamazov.
So this deep dive is part one of the three-part exploration of that statement. His definitive look at God, at doubt, at evil, and, the Russian soul itself.
Our mission today is really to introduce you to these men, define this explosive force that both binds them and tears them apart, and set the stage for the murder that drives the whole thing.
Let's start with some context because it's so important here.
Mm-hmm.
When Dostoevsky started writing this, around 1878, he was in his late 60s.
Yeah, he was burdened by debt, he was struggling with epilepsy, but he was also determined.
He'd been through so much.
Mm-hmm.
A Siberian prison camp, a mock execution.
Right, and this novel was his chance to synthesize every single philosophical and spiritual idea he had ever wrestled with. His whole life's work.
But there's a personal element that gives it this profound urgency.
There is a tragedy, really, that fueled its creation. In May of 1878, Dostoevsky's 3-year-old son, Alyosha, died from epilepsy.
The same disease Dostoevsky had.
Exactly. And he was just shattered by this fear, this guilt that he had somehow bequeathed it to his child.
Wow. I mean, that intensity of grief, that kind of spiritual questioning, it just became the catalyst for the whole book.
It absolutely reshaped the narrative. Right after the death, Dostoevsky took a trip with the philosopher Vladimir Solovyov to the Optina Pustin Monastery.
Which was one of the most important spiritual centers in Russia.
And this wasn't just research, it was a pilgrimage. He needed consolation.
And he found it there.
He did. He met the famous elder Ambrose. And the pastoral care he received from this man, the specific wisdom he was given, it was so powerful that Dostoevsky put it directly into the novel.
That's the detail I find so incredible. The words that Elder Zosima says to the grieving woman in the book.
Weep and be not consoled.
Yes, but know that your child is with the angels. Those were the exact words spoken to Dostoevsky.
It just anchors the whole spiritual struggle of the novel in something so real. How do you find faith in the face of such innocent suffering?
And then in this incredibly moving act of devotion, he names the hero of the novel.
Alyosha, after his last son, embodying all that hope for goodness and faith.
That character carries so much weight, his grief and his hope all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to turn to the source of all this, this energy. The father, Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov, he is just one of the most vile characters in literature.
He really is. Dostoevsky called him a type, a kind of petty landowner who exists to show just how low a human being can sink.
He's a sensualist, a miser, a liar.
And a clown. He abandoned his kids and just chased cheap thrills his whole life. But the key thing is, he's self-aware.
He's a conscious buffoon.
Exactly. He doesn't sin out of ignorance. He performs his own vileness because he enjoys it. He tells Zosima he did it because it was wrong. He loves violating boundaries.
And that delight in degradation is the poison he passes on to his sons.
It is. And the plot kicks off because even at 60, he's still so consumed by this that he's competing with his own son Dmitri for a woman.
Grushenka, and for money.
So it's about property and passion on the surface, but it's really rooted in this shared condition.
We have to define Karamazovshchina. Karamazovism.
Yes, this is so crucial. Karamazovshchina is the family's shared volcanic moral nature. The prosecutor in the novel calls it the Russian soul's breadth.
And that sounds heroic, doesn't it? Breadth, a soul without limits.
It sounds heroic, but Dostoevsky shows how it's actually self-destructive. It's this oscillation between two abysses.
Okay, what are the two abysses?
On one side, you have the highest, most lofty ideals, The love of Christ, beauty, sainthood. On the other side, the lowest degradation, vileness, lechery, just limitless appetite.
So it's the inability to draw a line.
Yes, it's wanting everything at once, wanting pleasure and knowledge and wealth and God, and refusing to see that those things pull you in opposite directions.
And that raw energy, that's the raw material for all of them, whether they become saints or murderers.
Precisely. And we see how it manifests in such wildly different ways in the three legitimate sons.
So let's start with Dmitri, or Mitya, the eldest. He's passion. He is the body.
He's the one who most clearly got his father's sensuality. But unlike his father, he's tormented by it. He's just chaotic, impulsive, always in crisis.
He's all unfiltered, overwhelming emotion.
Exactly. He has this burning sense of honor, but he can't stop himself from, stealing money for his obsessions. He's torn between his noble fiancée, Katerina, and his violent obsession with Grushenka.
And his own self-diagnosis is just heartbreaking. He says his soul is torn between insect sensuality.
His father, yeah.
And this high-minded love of beauty from Schiller. He gets his own problem perfectly when he says, man is too broad, I'd narrow him.
That's it right there. It's the tragedy of self-knowledge without self-control. He sees the ideal, but the Karamazov blood just drags him down every single time.
So if Dmitri is raw passion, let's go to the complete opposite. The middle brother, Ivan.
Pure intellect. Cold, calculated reason.
He's reasoned himself into nihilism, but it's not a happy nihilism.
No, it's a source of profound anguish for him. You see, Ivan doesn't just deny God exists. That would be too simple.
Right. He rejects the terms of existence itself.
Because he cannot reconcile a harmonious universe with the suffering of even one innocent child.
This is his rebellion. It's a devastating argument. He says he most respectfully returns him the ticket.
He refuses to accept a heaven that's bought with the tears of a tortured child. And this is where his internal conflict just explodes.
Because his great conclusion is,
if there is no God and no immortality, then everything is permitted.
He says it, but he's horrified by it.
He's horrified. He knows this means murder is permissible. He's basically intellectualized the very abyss that his brother Dmitri is just, falling into.
And we have to remember, this is the guy who's going to deliver the monologue that we'll be covering in our next deep dive. The Grand Inquisitor.
Indeed. But first, let's turn to the youngest, Alyosha, the declared hero, the novice, the vessel of faith.
What's so amazing about Alyosha is how everyone loves him, even his vile father, even the cunning Grushenka. They all have this genuine affection for him.
He has the Karamazov blood, that same volcanic energy, but he manages to channel it into active love, into empathy.
He doesn't fight Ivan with intellect, does he?
No, not at all. When Ivan lays out that challenge about the suffering children, Alyosha is shaken, of course, but his answer isn't some complex theological argument.
His response is spiritual. It's rooted in Christ. It's simple.
That simplicity is his power, and his only answer to the Grand Inquisitor's whole argument is going to be a simple, wordless kiss.
Which brings up his destiny. Because Elder Zosima, the holy man, he sends Alyosha out of the monastery.
Right. Why would he do that?
Because that Karamazov passion, even the good kind, can't be contained in a sanctuary. It's needed out in the chaotic, suffering world.
He has to take that raw, dangerous vitality of his family and transform it by engaging with real human pain.
But the novel also shows us the consequence of failing to do that. The failure to love.
Which brings us to the fourth brother, the shadow, Smerdyakov.
The illegitimate son. His mother was stinking Lizaveta, a mentally disabled woman Fyodor ravaged. Smerdyakov is literally Fyodor's sin-made flesh.
And he's just chilling, he's cold, epileptic, and he develops this disturbing magnetic attachment to Ivan the philosopher.
He listens to all of Ivan's theories.
With a terrifying literalness.
His role is so pivotal. He's the one who takes Ivan's abstract philosophy, everything is permitted, and does it. He commits the murder.
He's the instrument. He makes Ivan's intellectual decay into a physical reality. He's the proof that ideas have consequences.
And the trial of Dmitri that follows this murder, it's not just a courtroom drama. It's Dostoevsky's critique of modern Russia.
It is. The novel is set right in the middle of this turbulence in the 1870s after the judicial reform of 1864 introduced trial by jury.
A system Dostoevsky hated.
He saw it as a moral disaster. He was really set off by the Vera Zasulich case in 1878, where a revolutionary shot a governor and was acquitted by a jury based on pure emotion, even though she was obviously guilty.
So the defense attorney in the novel, Fetyukovich, this master of rhetoric,
he's Dostoevsky's symbol for that whole westernized system, a conscience for hire, a system obsessed with logic, but with zero spiritual insight.
And the Karamazovshchina is just too broad, too volcanic for that narrow system to get.
Exactly. Which is why the jury convicts the passionate but innocent Dmitri. It's Dostoevsky's verdict on the failure of reason without faith.
It all comes back to that core issue. This raw Karamazov energy is colliding with modern doubt, modern intellect, and a system that just can't handle it.
The stage is set. We've met the father, the shadow, the passionate soldier, the anguished intellectual, and the saintly novice. The fight between faith and skepticism is on.
And that fight, specifically Ivan's terrifying case against God, is where we are going next time. We're going to dive into the absolute philosophical core of this novel, Ivan's rebellion and the Grand Inquisitor.
The chapter that really cemented Dostoevsky's legacy. He argued the case against God better than any atheist ever has.
But before we go, we have to leave you with one final, staggering thought that completely changes how you read this book.
You have to remember that the Brothers Karamazov, as we have it, is only part one of a planned diptych.
He planned a sequel.
He did. Dostoevsky died before he could write it, but his notes show a shocking future for our hero, Alyosha.
Alyosha, the novice, the lover of humanity.
That's the one. The unwritten sequel would have had Alyosha leave the monastery, confront the world's suffering, and become disillusioned.
Disillusioned with what?
With passive spiritual solutions. And he would eventually become a socialist revolutionary and commit regicide.
He assassinates the Tsar. The saint becomes the political assassin.
Wow.
It's Dostoevsky's ultimate, terrifying message.
That even the purest soul, driven by that Karamazov passion for justice, isn't immune to the abyss. The Karamazovshchina always faces that pull back toward violent extremes.
That is a staggering thought to end on. And we'll leave you to consider how that Karamazovshchina might manifest in your own life, that powerful, relentless search for everything all at once. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.